Halfway through the NFL season, there's one thing for certain. There is no dominant defensive team in the NFL. And Brandon, I think we have seen repeatedly, it's all about offense. And to me, when you have parity and when it all comes down to you outscoring your opponent because nobody's getting any lockdown defense, not Seattle, not Denver, it makes our job somewhat easier, I think.
Well, let me tell you something right now. When you change the rules of what the defense can do to wide receivers, eventually offensive coordinators are going to make the adjustments. Eventually, the offense is really going to take advantage and get the upper hand. And what we're seeing right now, Al, is that's exactly what's happening. Offenses have the advantages, quarterbacks are playing better, and points are being scored.
And listen, if the defense tries to play close, tries to play tight, suddenly you get the flags, and you have so many teams that are so heavily penalized and accumulating negative yardage in the game. But again, parity is not a bad thing because I think that from a handicapper's perspective, it actually makes picking a lot of these games a lot easier. And we've got 3 very good games on tap today. Brandon, we're going to find out whether New Orleans is for real, whether Pittsburgh is for real, and answer the question, what the hell happened to Denver last week? Guys, I'm Al Demarco. This is Brandon Lang. Brandon, of course, like myself, a 20-plus year veteran of the handicapping wars. He had a movie made about his life as a professional sports handicapper, 2 for the money. Little guy by the name of Matthew McConaughey. I don't know what he's done since, but he was big at the time. Played him in the movie, which also starred Al Pacino. Me, a former sports reporter, been in this business for 20 years after spending 8 years in the locker room around coaches, players, covering teams, and that shaped my perspective. Brandon, from your perspective, it's always been really your start as an athlete has shaped your perspective in terms of handicapping games.
Yeah, it allows you to understand the game on a level that other people don't see. You tend to see things that people don't look for when you handicap games. It's a different perspective for me, and it allowed me to really have a great run. So for me, I've spent a lot of time around professional athletes, and from friends having an agent who represents athletes and spending time with them, getting to pick their brain. That's been absolutely priceless for me as far as understanding what teams are trying to do.
Exactly. I know what you mean. I mean, being a reporter and being somebody that had access to the inner circle with coaches and GMs and players. I mean, it really, after all these years, it still shapes everything I do from when it comes to breaking down a game. Let's start with our first game here today, Pittsburgh and the New York Jets. One of the teams we're talking about, Ben Roethlisberger, of course, only 12 touchdown passes the past 2 weeks. And the Steelers have scored 124 points in a 3-0 home sweep of the Texans, the Colts, and the Ravens. Now they go on the road, taking on the New York Jets. And Pittsburgh, 6-point favorite in this one.
You know, when you see who Pittsburgh let go, and you're wondering, wow, they let Wallace go, and you wonder why. And then here comes Antonio Brown, and then here comes Todd Haley from the Arizona Cardinals, who everyone forgets was the offensive coordinator when Kurt Warner and the Cardinals lost to those Pittsburgh Steelers, and probably a Super Bowl they never should have lost. But be that as it may, Todd Haley and Ben Roethlisberger, you were just waiting till they got on the same page. You were just waiting until that offense clicked. And the thing for me is I still scratch my head, Al, on how this Pittsburgh team lost at home to Tampa Bay. And you talk about parity in the NFL. You talk about things in the NFL that make you go, wow, that's one of the games this year that I still scratch my head about after watching the Pittsburgh Steelers the last 3 weeks. I don't think you can go against this team right now, especially when they're clicking the way they are offensively. We talk about right side to games and wrong side to games, and for me, the only way to play this game is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, I think a lot of gamblers, and I think Vegas is anticipating a flat spot for Pittsburgh. But I don't see how, after you score 124 points in 3 games, how you can possibly have a flat spot going against a Jets team that, you know, the change to Michael Vick didn't change anything last week. They still lost 24-10 at Kansas City. They've lost 8 in a row. They've got 1 cover in that 8-game stretch. They've allowed 24 or more points in every single one of those 8 games. And again, you got a Steelers team that is so hot offensively, 124 points. And I think the one thing, and you mentioned, by the way, Todd Haley about 4 weeks ago on one of our shows that it was only a matter of time until Roethlisberger really got comfortable in the offense with that short, fast, crisp passing attack. Also means he doesn't have to sit back there and take the sacks like he did in previous years. But how about the ground game with Bell? I mean, there's a guy over 700 yards rushing. Now you got Ben in play action. That's scary.
Well, very scary. And think about this. The Pittsburgh Steelers are this far away from being down 20-0 in the first half to the Houston Texans on Monday night, when a no call gets made, allowing Pittsburgh to keep the ball. And in a span of about 2 minutes, they took the lead in the game. That changed their season. All of a sudden, this team is unstoppable. They lose that game to Houston, who actually outplayed Pittsburgh in that game. Are we talking about the same Pittsburgh Steelers team? You ignite a team like this, you've ignited them, and I'm not going to be sitting at home on Sunday watching this Pittsburgh Steelers offense continue to roll against the Jets. No way.
Now listen, I heard Mike Ditka on the Four Letter Network earlier this week say something about, the Steelers are a Super Bowl contender. They are not a Super Bowl contender, in all deference to Mike. I mean, they have no defense. But you're not going to need it. This is the Jets. End of story. Steelers are the play. Absolutely. I think we're in agreement there. Next game, Denver and Oakland. I got to say, I didn't see that one coming when we talked about the Broncos game at New England last week. But as you said, somebody owns Peyton Manning, and that somebody is Bill Belichick.
Let me tell you something. Quote, I just have to play better. When Bill Belichick gets up out of the shower and Peyton Manning says, before you put your underwear on his left butt cheek it says, I own. And Belichick's right butt cheek says Peyton Manning. 5-12 now against Belichick and Brady. He just cannot beat the New England Patriots, especially in New England. So with all that being said, and we've all learned our lesson that if these guys play 100 more times in New England, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick will win 100 more times. With that being said, now they go out to Oakland to take on a team that they have absolutely punished. This posted totals at 49 now. For me, I like what I saw last week from Oakland Raiders. I like their offense, the way they executed up and down, especially in the second half against Seattle. Low posted total here. I can see Denver getting into the 30s. I can see Oakland getting into the high 17, maybe even 20, and this game flying over the posted total.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't see this one as being so low. I had thought it would be somewhere in the 53 to 55 range, especially since the Raiders have no defense and Derek Carr has been playing well. And you figure, the Broncos are going to rebound. They're going to put points on the board. Personally, -11, -12, -13. I don't see how you don't play the Broncos here. I think one of the most interesting factors in this game, let's not jump off the bandwagon too soon. And I'll give you an example. We talked about the Colts, what happened to them when they got bushwhacked at Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. Suddenly, they're on the road, second straight week. Last Monday, they're a 3-point favorite, and everybody's a little leery of the Colts. But on paper, you looked at the Colts and the Giants and you said, there's no comparison. It was a cheap price. Let's not forget that the Broncos, prior to losing to the Patriots, they had won 4 straight games and covered 4 in a row, and they'd averaged 37 points, and they won them by a 37-19 margin. This team had been on a roll. They had that hiccup game last week.
Yeah, you know what? One thing about Peyton Manning. Do you want to be on the wrong side of a motivated Peyton Manning? And for him to come out and criticize himself the way he did, when's the last time you saw superstar NFL quarterbacks say, I have to play better, I was just bad today, and put the onus on himself? I've called Peyton Manning the greatest regular season quarterback in NFL history and the worst playoff quarterback in NFL history. And if not for a third down drop against New England in that playoff game that sent them to the Super Bowl, they never would have got there. With all that being said, this man is motivated. He is going to put up points against anybody. For me, I'm going to stick with the total here. I'm going to fly over the posted total of 49. Al, I know you like Denver, and I think they're the right side of the game because, as we've talked about, you never want to be on the wrong side when Peyton Manning's angry.
Hey, 7 of the last 9 in the series have gone over the total. I think an interesting stat, and listen, numbers and stats, you give me one supporting one side, I'll give you 7 that support the other because it's just all manipulation of the numbers. But it can't be denied that the Broncos have won 6 in a row and covered all 6 off their last 6 straight-up losses. Average score 38-19. They've won and covered 5 straight in this series by an average score of 34-16. So to me, as I said, I don't care if it's 11 or 14. If you're going to play it, you're going to play the Broncos. Hey, before we get to the marquee game that we think is on Sunday's card, which is going to be New Orleans against San Francisco, Brandon, let's talk about how we can get, you guys out there can get my best bet, Brandon's best bet, and the best bet of all the handicappers here at the site. $1,000 value, absolutely free. No strings attached.
$1,000. Let me say that slowly for you. $1,000. That's free. If you had to pay for the 12 best bets on Saturday or Sunday, or any day of the week, but mostly on the weekends, you're getting every handicapper's best bet, 12 best bets. It's over $1,000 is what it would cost you. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. We've made some changes on the site, new handicappers up on the site. Everybody's doing well. Come aboard. Search out your handicappers, get a feel for their opinion, read their analysis, and find out we know what we're doing over here at the website. 10 free plays, 12 free plays. $1,000 value, absolutely free. Go to the top of the webpage. It's free one-day all-access pass. Have a day on me, and you'll have a winning day as well.
Hey, guys, listen, the reason we do it is because we have that much faith that we've accumulated the best and most talented group of handicappers. Nobody wins every single day. Anybody that claims to in this business is a fraud, okay? They're a charlatan, they're a con man, but we win consistently. And we're basically pulling back the curtain and saying, we don't want anything. In a business, Brandon, as you know, and we've both been in it over 20 years, most people want something up front. We're telling you we don't want anything. Just come on in. Check out the one-day free all-access pass, and as Brandon said, 12 handicappers, best bets, over $1,000 of action free. And guys, if you want it Wednesday in the NBA and the Mid-American Conference football, you can get it on Wednesday. You can do it on a Saturday. You can do it on a Sunday. It's your choice. Again, it's free, so check it out at the website. As Brandon said, just go to the top of the page and click on it. Brandon, last game, New Orleans opened the week at 4. Now they're 5 against San Francisco. You've got 2 4-4 teams, but you've got 2 teams that are going in opposite directions here.
Bad spot for the San Francisco 49ers. Jim Harbaugh wakes up in the morning after the fumbled loss to the St. Louis Rams, and let me take you inside his house for a minute, because I have to think this is the conversation he had with his brain. He wipes off the mirror from the steam of the shower and he looks in, and you know what's staring back at him? A quarterback over in Kansas City named Alex Smith. Because Jim Harbaugh made his bed with Colin Kaepernick. Nobody else did. This was his decision. Let's get rid of Alex Smith. Colin Kaepernick's my guy. And in places you don't talk about at parties, a few good men, Jack Nicholson, Jim Harbaugh wishes he had Alex Smith. Trust me on that, folks. Colin Kaepernick is a great athlete. He's a specimen. But he couldn't read a defense if you gave him tomorrow's newspaper today. And they're having problems offensively. And now, I thought Green Bay was the right side the other Sunday night against the New Orleans Saints. I really thought Aaron Rodgers was going to go in there and really have a great game. And the New Orleans Saints said bye-bye. And for me, if Aaron Rodgers and a red-hot Green Bay offense cannot go in and beat the Saints, you are not going to convince me the Niners can do the same. And I don't care what the number is. I'm not going to be on the wrong side of a Saints home game again.
Hey, total disclosure time, I won 5 out of 7 days last week. And I hit 3 out of 4 football plays last week. The only loser, someone here, not named Brandon, had the 49ers last Sunday. I don't know what Kool-Aid I was drinking, but it was definitely poisoned. I will never make that mistake again. How the hell do you let the St. Louis Rams, who just got destroyed at Kansas City the week prior, come into your house, your brand new house at Levi Stadium, and your offensive line allows 8 sacks, and you've got the mobile quarterback, and St. Louis had like 7 sacks for the whole season. 8 sacks in that game. I was thinking that, hey, they had a bye week. They were blown out at Denver, a game which we talked about, that I love the Broncos. I wasn't surprised what happened. I figured they'd regroup, they'd come out fresh from the bye. Instead, right now, I think Jim, when he's looking in the mirror, he's going, yeah, Ann Arbor looks pretty good right now. I can go back to Michigan, you know? It's just a bad situation. I mean, as you said, against the Packers, 44-23. Mark Ingram was monstrous. Listen, the stat that is a crazy, crazy number, but it is so true. You've got, with Sean Payton coaching, the Saints have won 20 consecutive games with Payton, when he wasn't suspended, coaching at home, and they've gone 18-1-1 against the spread. Well, you give me 18-1-1 against the spread, that's kind of a no-brainer. Just say, bet the Saints. Why aren't you betting the Saints every damn home game? Till something changes, why not bet New Orleans? I
think something turned also with the win over Green Bay is they went on the road to Carolina. And a lot of people were talking about the Saints outdoors on grass. They just don't play well. This is a bad spot for them. Off the big emotional national TV Sunday night win against Green Bay. To go to Carolina and win that game after turning it over in the second quarter, and then to take control in the second half, I think they've turned the corner. I think this is a Saints team now that we better take a step back now, that they're settling into Rob Ryan and settling into what everybody's doing. This is a dangerous team right now, and I think they're going to announce their presence with authority against the Niners, much the way they did against Green Bay.
Yeah, they got the monkey off their back with the road win finally. I mean, after going 0-for on the road to start the season and playing on a Thursday, they have the extra prep time. And the one thing we've seen in this NFL season of parity is that you've got to be flexible and you've got to realize when the bandwagon is ready and when you've got to jump on. Think about the Steelers the last 3 weeks. Think about the Colts during their 4-game and now 5 out of 6 wins and covers. Think about the Broncos when they had reeled off 4 straight wins and covers. I think right now you're looking at the Saints, 2 in a row, number 3 in a row. This is a jump-on team.
Yeah, and if things were a little unsettled with San Francisco, imagine the way they are now. We've heard grumblings all year that the locker room's a little on thin ice in San Francisco. We don't know if it's true, we don't know if it's not true. But now losing at home as a double-digit home favorite and going to the hardest place to play in the NFL with a quarterback that your head coach has no confidence in right now, this could implode in a hurry. And as Al said, the maize and blue are looking pretty good in Ann Arbor right now.
Yeah, Brady Hoke is cleaning out the home right now, and I think Jim's going to be moving in shortly. Hey, guys, that'll do it for this week's show. Remember, again, as we said, the All Access Pass is waiting for you up there. My best bet, Brandon's best bet. I know this video is up midway through the week and right through Sunday's games. It doesn't matter what day you try it. The only way you lose is if you don't take advantage of a free offer and get our best bets, and you'll see all the best bets. And I think, Brandon, something you said earlier, it gives you out there a chance to look at how we do things and read the analysis. I mean, the handicappers are all scattered through the country. They have all levels of experience. They're all good, but we all have a different take on games. And this gives them a chance to look at that.
It's funny. Anybody can tell you why they like a game. Now give me some stone cold hard facts on why you like this game, and don't just quote me a trends. Tell me what you're looking for. Tell me why you like this side of the game, why it's the right side of the game. And I'll tell you this right now, of all the handicappers up on the website, every single one of them have a rock solid opinion, but they can tell you why they have that rock solid opinion. And Al, I'm more proud of that than anything else.
Guys, that'll do it for this week's show. We will be back next week. Remember, Brandon and I have our daily video reports you can check out every single day as well. For Brandon Lang, Al Demarco, and we'll catch you again next week and make some more money.